Well, here we are. My Little Pony Gen 4 has ended with the comics taking over for Season 10. Thanks to the last problem, a couple questions were answered. Since it answered my most popular question, it's time to introduce the first episode in what I expect to be an incredibly short series. So let's revisit the question, why can't Scootaloo fly? Easily my most popular video ever, Why Can't Scootaloo Fly, explored some theories as to, well, why can't Scootaloo fly? My primary theory was that she just doesn't have the magic power most Pegasi have to achieve even the most basic flight. While some agreed with me, a couple other commenters had some different theories. One specific line of thought I really want to give a shout out to came from the users PopOpAmAJ and Rainbow Kitty Gamer 007, who said, "My theory is it has nothing to do with her wing size, and one of her parents was an earth pony, and genetic mutations happened, so she got earth pony genes too, and therefore the body shape was wrong and too heavy, making her unable to fly." Rainbow Kitty equated it in response to genetic mutations that keep bird bones from growing hollow, thus making them too heavy to fly, theorizing perhaps something similar happened to Scootaloo. Now some of you may be thinking, well, duh, we know one of her parents was an earth pony. Why is this post so special? Because it was posted in May of 2019, a full month before the episode The Last Crusade aired. Before then, there was zero information on who Scootaloo's parents even were. So good on you, Pop-Up. And while we were given a peek at the grown-up CMC in Growing Up is Hard to Do, I wasn't ready to take it as canon that Scootaloo's wings wouldn't grow, as it's hard to say if they remained small because that's how they would be when she legitimately grew up, or if it was a trick of the flower's magic. So when the last problem aired and showed that yes indeed Scootaloo's wings do remain filly-sized into true adulthood, that got my attention. So what does this mean for my theory? Well, there are several ways of looking at it. Clearly, there is a physical element in her lack of flight, as her wings remain the same size her whole life. However, user Crystal Sapphire suggested that the magic within a pony also attributes to how large they grow in general, as well as their abilities. I discussed that angle with them, and we came to the conclusion that it's an equal mix of physical growth and magical ability, mainly based off of such ponies as the alicorns and ponies with bulk biceps' body type. Crystal theorized that while most Pegasus pony magic goes into their wings, the magic in ponies like bulk biceps goes into their body instead, causing them to hulk out instead of growing normal-sized wings, yet retaining the ability to fly. This is also potentially why alicorns have such large wings, in spite of being above average flyers at best. They're filled with so much magic that it not only causes their wings and horns to grow, but their entire body as well. I feel this, combined with the fact that she's half Earth Pony, is possibly the answer to why her wings never grew, and why she was still unable to fly in spite of evidence that wing size doesn't matter. So Scootaloo simply doesn't have the right combination of genetics to result in normal wings and flight. It probably doesn't help that her father is a larger Earth Pony in the same body type as Big Mac, who is shown to be ridiculously strong. I would be very surprised if Snap Shutter wasn't as strong as Big Mac, or stronger considering his livelihood. So that puts genes for an incredibly dense physical structure into the mix, meaning Scootaloo is likely somewhat physically dense herself. But some of you may be wondering, if having Earth Pony genes is such a detriment to a Pegasus, what about Pound Cake? He seems to be a perfectly average Pegasus, and both his parents are Earth Ponies. Shouldn't he be grounded also? Well, I have just one thing to say about that.
Genetics are weird.
In real life, dormant or recessive genes have been observed in many families where the majority of the family has the same or similar genes that results in the family all looking pretty much the same or similar enough that it isn't too difficult to tell they're related. But suddenly out comes one child who is proven to be the genetic offspring of the same parents as the other children, yet there's something about them that's either just unexpected or in some cases downright odd. Take my family, for example. In real life, my parents and grandparents all had blue eyes. To my knowledge, my family's eyes have only been blue for at least 2 or 3 generations. The weird part comes with my sister Feline and I. Feline's eyes have been known to change color depending on her mood, with someone specifically telling her eyes turned yellow when she was incredibly angry. Then there's my eyes. They're primarily blue, but there's a ring of green around my pupils. This is called central heterochromia and is incredibly rare. So if the majority of my ancestors had blue eyes, where the heck did the green in my eyes come from? And the changing color in my sister's eyes? In addition to our eye colors, my sisters and I have a very high chance that when we have children, we'll have twins. This is because our mother is a twin and our father has twins in his direct lineage as well, meaning genetically speaking, our chances of having twins is much higher than those who don't have twins in their lineage. This kind of genetic weirdness is what happened with Pound and Pumpkin Cake. While the relatives Mr. Cake named were pretty far removed from himself and his wife, I wouldn't be surprised if there were other Pegasi and unicorns in direct relation to them, meaning the genes for both unicorns and Pegasi have been lying dormant in the family line for many generations. And this is usually the kind of situation some families with odd genetic quirks find themselves in when they have a child born with unusual traits. So I reiterate.
Genetics are weird.
Combine genetics with magic and you get a heck of a lot weirder. I thoroughly enjoyed having one of my questions answered in this manner. It still left a little to interpretation, but they did at least give us part of the answer we'd been striving for since Scootaloo's introduction. I find it rather appropriate that she and the other two became teachers at the School of Friendship, likely expanding the Cutie Mark Crusaders even further. I also wouldn't be surprised if they awarded honorary Cutie Marks to some of their students in the same way they awarded one to Gabby. With that happy thought in mind, this is Fauna Joy flying off. One specific line of thought I really want to give a shout out to came from the users I can't pronounce it. Rainbow Kitty equated it in a response to genetic mutations that keep bird bones, as it was hard to say if they remain small because that's how they would be And while we were given a peek at the grown-up CMC in Growing Up is Hard to Do, I wasn't ready to as it was hard to say if they remained small because that's how they would be when she legitimately grew up, or if it was a trick of the flower's magic. That was too big a breath. So when the last problem aired and showed that yes, indeed, Scootaloo's wings do remain filly-sized into a true adulthood, the magic in ponies like Bulk Bicep goes into their bodies instead, and I didn't say his name right. The magic in ponies like Bulk Biceps Crystal theorized that while most jeez. This is also potentially why alicorns have such large wings. This is also potentially why alicorns have such large wings in spite of being above average. Jeez. But suddenly out comes one child who is proven to be genetic. While the relatives Mr. Cake named were pretty far removed from himself as an meaning the genes for both unicorns and Pegasi have been laying dormant. And is usually the kind of situation some families with odd genetic quirks find themselves in when they have a child born. And is usually the kind of situation some families... Oh, god damn it, I can't finish this fucking paragraph. I wouldn't be surprised if there were other Pegasi and unicorns in direct relation to them, meaning the genes for both God! And this is usually the kind of situation some families with odd genetic quirks find themselves in when they have a child born with unusual traits. Finally! I find it rather appropriate that she became a teacher at the School of Friendship, likely I was doing so well.